Seeing it's August 5th, I'd like to call the August Park and Rec meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to adopt the agenda. Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Like to approve the June 3rd meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve the June 3rd meeting minutes. I'll second it.
Motion made to approve the June 3rd meeting minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment?
I think they're all here for agenda items.
Okay, seeing there's none. Okay, consider the agreement with the London Heritage Historical Village. Ginger?
Yeah, so for this one, I have been working with the the New London Heritage Historical Society down at Memorial Park. They had some things that they needed to have done at the facility, and so Charmaine and the group from Thurn Farms, Megan, contacted me and said, do you know what our agreement is? And I said, I don't have an agreement on file. So we sat down together. I went down and met with them at the site, and we put together this this agreement. It's funny because she just brought me what she found of an agreement from 1988 that we don't have on file. And I think the reason why we don't have it on file is because it was never signed. So I don't think this ever came to fruition in '88. So it's kind of an interesting, I haven't gotten a chance to look through it entirely, but what we've been working with them on is basically, it's been sort of a handshake agreement per se between the two of us, and now we've got it in writing. You want to look through it. As far as we mow the property, snow removal. We've been going through a lot of agreements, as you know, and so it's pretty status quo. They would be responsible for, keeping up the facility itself, going in and making sure that it's, taken care of. It's an interesting thing because it's their building on our property. So they're willing to make those improvements on that building when they need to, and also just the utilities of it because it's their stuff in their building, so they want to make sure that it's taken care of. We do have also in this agreement just that we have some equipment in there as well that houses our the server for the camera system that's at Memorial Park. We're not fortunate enough to have a Wi-Fi bridge yet. So we have a sole unit down there that we work off of with Charter. So that's in terms listed in here. Would you like to say anything? Okay, yeah, it's been a pleasure working with you. And it's just been, it's been a long road, but I'm glad that we got this taken care of, and in writing finally, since 1988. Is there any questions for either myself or Charmaine?
Do you have any questions?
So there's really no big change to it at all?
No.
We want to have a motion to approve the agreement. I would look for consider an agreement with the New London Heritage Historical Village.
Make a motion to approve the agreement with the New London Heritage Historical Society. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the agreement with the Historical Society. Anybody have any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will sign it. Yeah, the mayor, after our council meeting, he will then, it'll be officially approved and he'll sign it. We'll give it to you. Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, consider the agreement with the Wolf River Art League.
So another agreement, I've been working with the attorneys a lot. So this one, as you remember, back in 2021 on our little tour, we had a lady come in and she had a sculpture for us to look at and was interested in having a sculpture park or sculpture trail in New London. And the Wolf River Art, we gave them the head nod to go ahead with the Life on the River Trail, that would be on Riverside Trail. Part of that, is in this agreement. Things like who's going to be taking care of it, who owns it, who procures the actual sculptures, if there's a sale of a sculpture, how long the exhibition is, all of these things, the expiration of it, liability is all included on this agreement. It's a little bit more lengthy than usual because it has so many different facets. Very similar, all of these things that we do, other cities do. I worked off with the city of Stevens Point on this one. They have a great sculpture trail if you're ever interested in them to go visit. And also I sat down with the Wolf River Art League and we sat down and looked through it and made some changes that we've all agreed on. And this is what we came up with for that project. They have started to fundraise, so this is a little bit of the cart in front of the horse, but that we'll go into a little bit further and why we did that in the next agenda item. So any questions for myself? I also have members of the Wolf River Art League here to present on the next agenda item. So if you have any questions about the agreement with them, they're more than happy. I got President Lori Schneider and her cohort.
I do have a question about the maintenance.
Mhm.
What does that mean?
So
That we're responsible for?
we are
doing the
not,
maintenance?
yeah. So if there's something simple to be done, we could do it, whether it's, and a lot of times, like in Stevens Point, if it's broken, they remove it. Because if it's broken, it's possibly, not gonna stand the way it should be standing, things like that. It's between the two of us, between the artist, the Wolf River Art League and ourselves that would fix it within reason. And we have every right to decline that if we can't fix it.
Who's responsible for insurance on it?
They are.
They
Mhm.
Is this associated with the same group that puts all the murals and stuff around?
Yes,
Okay,
yep. Exact same group.
and that's really big all around the country right now. I mean, there's a lot of beautiful ones around, so yeah, that's really great that you got somebody here in town to do that.
Right. I think it's a great addition to our tourism draw that we're doing our best with here in town.
I
For
guess we want-
future questions, how far is that going to go up from like John's shop?
To John's shop.
To what?
Yep, to John's.
Yeah.
Yep. They have, if you wanna go into that a little bit more and the future of the trail itself and your plans for that.
So we talked.
And Lori, if you're
about-
gonna talk, you wanna come up to the mic?
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
sorry.
So we know it's a really long stretch of riverfront there. And so as this has evolved and we've talked about it, we've come to the conclusion that starting at Shawano Street Bridge would probably be the best thing because that's where we can establish our community sculpture, which we'll talk about later, but it would be like the start of the trailhead there and hopefully gain interest with people. And then as we build, we'll just move down the river. We're not sure how many sculptures we're gonna get in at one time. We might get in 3 next year, we might get in 6 next year. So as we place them, we'll be careful as to how they look with each other and with the things that are surrounding them. So.
Just some background on the committee that's working with the group, so you have some confidence in their ability to design something like this.
Mhm.
We have, do you wanna just go through?
So Dan Parker is an engineer and I believe a structural engineer or
Mechanical,
mechanical.
I used to design machinery. It's been a while. I've been at a few different careers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Casey Curly Krieger, did I say that right?
Yep.
Okay, so he's a, and I don't even wanna say a sculpture. You do it.
For-
You do it. He's really good. at
Recording
that.
and all.
He's really
All right,
good.
so I'm a professional artist. I have installed large scale public sculptures. First one was in college in Gillette, Wyoming, and several throughout Green Bay and De Pere. So I've handled and coordinated large pieces and how they are properly anchored and maneuvered and designed my own pieces that way.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You have any plans for any along the Fraser Park Trail?
Nope,
No?
right now we're just focusing on the river trail,
Trail?
yes.
Okay.
So we
Yep.
wanted to call it Life on the River. You guys suggested that we use nature and that's, you know, the theme that we came up with. So having things along the river there, we're just gonna ask artists and sculptors to come up with things that relate to that. So I don't think you'll have any worry about like head jars or anything like they did in Appleton that caused a lot of controversy. I don't think, you know, there might be some things that are abstract as nature goes, you know, maybe somebody will create something that looks like wind
Mhm.
or something like that, but I think we'll all be able to relate to each one of these. So,
And a part of this agreement is that you are the ones deciding whether or not a piece goes on the trail. So you will get the final say, and we'll be doing that in the next agenda item. And they will propose a sculpture and you will approve it. And view their vision and what it means to them and then forwardly adopt that.
They were coming to the planning commission before with some of the.
Correct, with the murals, yep,
Before.
yep.
So are they still gonna go with them or is it just gonna come to
No,
the Park and Rec?
No, they went to planning commission because they were technically visioned as signs. And those have to be approved by them, and so these are a sculpture, a piece in a park, so that it can be developed and approved through us. Mhm.
So I would look for a motion to consider the agreement with the Wolf River Art League.
I'll make a motion to consider an agreement with Wolf River Art League for sculpture in River Walk Park.
Charlene,
Trying to have a second. Okay, we got a motion in first and a second. All in favor?
Hi,
Opposed? Motion carried.
okay. And then the next thing on the agenda is, the approval of the first sculpture. So I'm going to hand this right over to Lori and her team, to go through what their first, sculpture idea is and how that ties into why we let the horse or the cart go in front of the
Yeah.
horse this time.
so I think it was Chad that mentioned a couple of years ago that we had this concrete pad that's already existing over by the NL flower planter. There's a hexagon shaped platform that hasn't been used. And he said, well, you could put something on there. So that's where we're focusing right now because it is at the trailhead there. So, a group of us got together and brainstormed and came up with a, you know, after hearing Life on the River, what could we do to make a community sculpture? We saw one that Miller Electric did with the folks in Appleton, and it's a globe. And it's just like a sphere, you see through it, you know, it's just like wired globe. And then they took almost like little gingerbread people and cut them out, and they had everybody sign them, and then they put them on this globe. So from that, we got the idea to do it with fish. And that would be our fundraiser, and we'd make a community sculpture out of it. And that, so like our murals, the Amazing Low Prices wall, afforded us to do all of our murals. We made that one community statement. And for $5 a square, we raised $15,000 and we're able to paint all of our murals, okay? So with this,
You wanna zoom in on that panel on the left, low?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lower left.
so I don't know how many of you have seen the flyers, but we have, we're selling the fish at different sizes for different prices. So the minnows are $20 a piece, which makes it affordable for anybody to do. And lots of families are buying groups of minnows with their kids' names on them. And then they'll buy a walleye with their family name on it to go next to it. The sturgeons are $1,500 and that would be like a corporate sponsor and we can even put the logo on it for them. So we started this, sorry, last February.
Yeah.
We started selling them at our art show and we got over $3,000 worth of orders in one day. So we have lots of fish to start this with, but it's going to be kind of a progressional sculpture like the memorial at Taft Park, where you put up one wall and you filled the front and the back of it, and then you put up another one and filled. We'll be doing that the same with these different increments around the hexagon. So what you're looking at there is one section that's 16 feet, guys.
Yep.
16 feet wide. And those fish that were purchased by community members have their names on them and they will be put into the sculpture. So Dawn Spartacino is our artist. She's, oh gosh, I think she's been working as a welder for 5 years now.
Mhm.
She works over in Greenville. She's got her business, owner is very interested in helping out with this.
Which is Ben Besaw, who we've met with about the downtown project.
Actually, Ben owns the fabrication
Okay.
place out on the other side of town, so we have 2 businesses that are invested in this already.
Mhm.
And they've cut the fish out for us and we've already completed the orders that we have so far. So once we get this frame set, we'll do one 16-foot section and put it in, and then Dawn will bring the inside of it and mount it in there. So that it kind of looks like a carousel right now, but.
Yeah.
So
So
you're gonna have multiple phases and so go on for probably several years.
I believe so, yep.
Yes,
It'd be great if we could finish in it a year, but
So this would be
I'm
the
thinking
Shawano
3 to
Street
5.
side, and then this would, be like looking towards the
We've got
river.
that existing slab, in Sharpie drawn on.
Mm.
cardboard.
Mhm.
mhm.
Well,
So if you look at the cardboard, you could just flip the cardboard up even and show him. He's got that slab drawn on the cardboard. And then that fits on it, so you can see that it fits. It'll be big.
not handy. Yeah,
How tall is it plan?
9.5 feet at the.
At
height
the
of
very top.
curve
Yeah.
there.
Top of the curves would be 9.5 feet.
Mhm.
And then it's 3 feet.
2 feet from the
2 feet from the ground is empty there. And see where, I don't know if you can see, it says frog wall there.
Yeah.
We had the idea for each section to have a different designation, so frog, turtle,
heron.
heron.
dragonfly.
So we'll do something out of, metal and have it there. We'll have a frog on that one section, a turtle, a heron on the other. So when you're telling your friends, hey, go see our fish on the wall, it's on the turtle side. They'll be able to find
Yeah.
where it is,
identifier.
you know, and it's more interactive that way and people will, I think, appreciate the other sculptures. Inside of the middle there, you see there's a bunch of rocks piled up and those would be big flagstone or limestone pieces that'll be arranged comfortably in different levels for people to sit on and view the sculpture. So it'll be, yeah, the kids will be
Playing
going
around.
up and down on it, but it won't be so high that they could tumble off and crack their head open. It's gonna be pretty low.
Another person working on the project to add a little bit more of a vision is Jerry Oberstadt from a landscape designer, architect from Oberstadt
Yeah,
Landscaping.
he's been doing landscaping for 40 years. And, he's got real vision. He always designs our art show and does such a great job with the spatial design of that show. And he loves a challenge. So we talked about different things in the middle and we came up with this from him and it's a good idea, I think. So it'll look natural. And that archway will eventually say something like Life on the River, community sculpture or something to that effect. And then Casey's got all sorts of notes around there when you read them. One of them was that you could put some planters on either side and grow a vine up through there to make it a little more, give it some greenery during the summer
Mhm.
months.
Are the fish gonna be like hung on something or is it gonna be like a panel?
They'll be welded on to,
Step in.
yeah,
Yes, please.
your turn.
So the fish themselves are laser cut stainless steel. And really in the pair of panels that you see there, the one on the left is the only one that is kind of emulating the answer to your question. Because the way Lori described that globe that you can kind of see through, you want to do an organic wire work matrix so it doesn't look like a fence or a grid that is caged in. And that's also why it was kind of a last minute design iteration to like put the arc on the top and the bottom so they didn't look like fish tanks. Let's see. So I wanted to also clarify when we talk about phases of the project, when we start this, we want to be sure it is structurally sound. So the intention is to actually fabricate all those pairs of panels. So 4 walls and a bridge piece. So there is a complete hexagon making it structurally sound. And then we have inserts that mount inside that frame. And those layouts happen in the shop so that we bring them finished and install them into the hexagonal frame that goes around the perimeter.
And the material holding the fish in place,
I think we were going with mild steel.
1/4 inch round, something like
I
that.
think at least like a couple different sizes. He did invent maybe some other ribbon forms, trying to make them look organic. Whether they're weeds, because they're kind of like clusters that branch up and expand, or other plants, light lines.
Well, this is half as good as the the pictures are around town. It'll be really great, I
I
think.
know.
It really sounds interesting. Can't wait to see it.
So in order to see it, we would need a motion
Yeah.
to approve this.
Would there ever be a thought, Ginger, of any lighting to that?
What's that, lighting?
How far away is any lighting from that?
There's lighting
There's
on the
trail
trail.
lighting, yeah.
I think there's a layout, kind of almost where that the grass stops
Comes
and then
out.
opens the concrete behind
Right.
it.
Yep.
Transformer here, transformer here.
Okay.
Lighting.
Any other questions for the Wolf River Art League?
Well, you've been working on this for 4 years now, something like that.
Well, we've had the idea for that long. I think we've worked on it for a couple of years now, because we got other things on the fire, but, yeah, a solid 2 years. We've been talking about how we want to, start the whole thing, because it's a big process.
Yeah.
And the more we talked about it, the more we realized that we needed to do something first to draw attention, so that we get the buy-in from the public on the fact that we're having a sculpture trail, because
Yeah.
we can't do it alone. We need to raise a lot of money for this. So we've done well with our fundraisers that we've been having bake sales and brat fries and all sorts of stuff. And we did a lot at the art show. We'll do a lot at the art show again this year. We have flyers out for the fish everywhere in town. And then we, every once in a while, we'll get an order on our website, so. We're just gonna keep plugging away at it, and we just realized that this has to come first. So that people see, number one, that we're serious about it, number two, what we can do. With a sculpture, they know what we can do with murals, now we'll show them what we can do with a sculpture. And, I think it's gonna be big enough to draw a lot of interest. So that's why we decided to go with this one first versus getting a couple that are set out here and there, but don't really do
Make a
anything right
statement.
away,
Right.
so.
Yeah, just, I remember years ago when we were first starting the Veterans Memorial. John and I had a talk about doing something very similar to this. And that goes back, what, 5 or 6 years, John? Something like that, when you and I discussed what we
yeah.
would do after the memorial was completed and help with, so.
Mhm.
I think it's a great program.
Thank you. We fully intend to make it spectacular for New London. And we're so happy that you're on board and wanna do it. I mean, it's a beautiful park and I think we can just enhance it and it'll bring obviously more tourism in, people to see it, more money in town, you know, it's like that. So, and I live right across the river from it, so if anybody messes with it.
That's true. Or he'll be jumping in the water to
I'll
run
have my
after him.
camera out anyway.
Yeah.
That might not be the only thing. I don't know.
Anybody else have any more comments?
Just don't come back and say you're gonna put a bridge across.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need
Little footbridge over
the
there.
plan for it.
I would look for to consider approval of the first sculpture of the Wolf River Art League Sculpture Trail.
I'll make the motion for approval of the first sculpture of the Wolf River Art League Sculpture Trail.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the Art League Sculpture Trail. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Go to work.
Thank you very much.
Go to work.
Thank you.
Proceed.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll get the agreement signed and then get it over to you
Okay, all right, thanks, Ginger.
guys. Thank you.
And Ginger really worked with us on this. I really appreciate the, you know, she
been
knows
fun.
how to draw up all this stuff and we're like, what do we do? What do we do? So it's a good partnership. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Ginger, next one, outdoor container entertainment event.
Hey, I'm full of fun stuff this month. So this one came to me, based on some special events that we've had in the past. That are really hard to keep in compliance with our current ordinances. It's always been a challenge for us. If you'll remember Bazaar After Dark, when they were downtown, Wheels on Water Street, when they're down on any of our streets now that they're on Werner Allen. And so myself, Administrator Horth and Chief Schleter sat down and looked at how can we make it easier for the police department to manage and the special events coordinators to manage their events. After reading through several different city ordinances involving open containers, speaking on having beer in streets here basically, in finding that after, and I hate referring to this, but after COVID, we saw a lot of events that were outside because you could distance and all of those things. And so cities were changing their special events to allow open intoxicants on city streets. It's very detailed in who can do it and where they can do it at. Only somebody that has applied for a special Class B license, so they have to be a bona fide nonprofit to do this. It can't be a person, if you're having the downtown closed off for one of these events, people from the bars cannot come out with their alcohol that's been purchased at the bars because those are tied to their licenses at their addresses. And as soon as they step onto the city street or the city sidewalk, that's not their address anymore. That's an open intoxicant. So we, at the time, were finding a lot of open intoxicants, coming onto the streets during those special events, even when they were sold by the special groups and made to stay, they were supposed to stay in like the parking lot. And they would have a little area that they were, sectioned off of. It was still hard. You'd see people walking up and down the street with their beers. And it's hard for the police department to have enough staff to give these people citations. Just because if one person did it, then the next person would do it, the next person, and you try to get on top of it, and you just couldn't. So that is what this ordinance is offering to the special events for the community to apply for. It would be part of the special events application process where they would request to have this. Only groups that want this would get this. There's some groups that don't want to allow this, like the New Dublin group. They don't want anything outside of their tents. They want all of their activity to stay in that area on the parking lot. Because that's where they make their money. Insurance would go up for them, because we did have some issues with that in the past. And we'll actually be talking about that at the next committee meeting, so.
Question.
Yeah.
You know, there's some big events that happen down there, okay?
Mhm.
One of the biggest is probably during the walleye run, when the fishing club,
Okay.
sets up down there.
Sure.
How much of that responsibility has got to go back to the club?
They sign off the indemnification, it's their insurance. Obviously, if somebody wants to sue somebody, they're gonna try to sue everybody. That event is just in that park.
Yeah.
If somebody steps off of with a beer, then that's not legal. Even in the parking lot. So that's pretty contained for that one.
And the chief was pretty well okay with this ordinance.
Yes, yep, he said it in all the meetings, him and I worked on the initial ordinance wording together. Yes, and our attorney went over it, we sat down with him, he had a lot of questions, and the conversation went really well. He didn't seem to have any concerns, and it goes along with the state laws as well. So that's really important. As soon as Nicole took a look at it, she said, yep, everything here reads along the same lines as the Class B laws for the state of Wisconsin. Because that's her jurisdiction.
Anybody have any questions? I'd look for a motion to consider an ordinance for outdoor open container, excuse me,
I'll make
entertainment
that
event.
motion.
Motion's been made. I'll have a second.
Second.
Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Yeager made the motion and
Jaeger made the motion, John second. Updates and reports, Ginger.
Just a couple things to touch on. I have been invited to speak at the Natural Resources Waterways Commission to give a description of our project for the review of the overflow lot project down at Riverside Park. So that means they're at least considering, they haven't thrown away my application yet. So that's in September. I'm not sure if they approve it on that date or if they sit on that for a while. I don't know. I'll be speaking with Jessica, the DNR rep that I've been working with over the phone to kind of get a layout on that next week. Emerald Ash Borer I've been doing a lot of meeting with the DNR. Met with the DNR Urban Forestry Coordinator to formulate a plan to update our tree inventory that hasn't been updated since, I think, '09. We have a big problem with the ash trees on city property. We have a lot in Hatton Park. We get phone calls at least once, I don't know, once a month, more than that. Just what are you gonna do? We do also have a lot of questions from the community. They are coming to us thinking, we're Park and Rec. So do you have what should we do in our public or in our private home to talk about the remediation of that in their properties? And so she gave me some good resources that we can distribute through our department for private as well. I've been speaking with the Department of Public Works, and we should be able to do a large removal this fall and winter. A large removal means that we're gonna have a lot of wood sitting around. So she went over what we need to do with that, and how we can get rid of that. All of this is going to cost some money. So she said that I should apply for an urban forestry grant to put together this project. And so that's a big thing on my plate right now. So I'll be starting that this week, actually. Next, that's kind of in the capital projects realm, but I'm working on that. I have a meeting this week with a family I've spoke about before that wants to do a sizable donation, a memorial to remember their son that passed away. We'll also have a group of people that are looking at tennis courts. They said that there's so many people leaving New London to go to Greenville or go to Hortonville or go to Ogdensburg to play pickleball. So I have a group of people that's interested in maybe starting a grassroots fundraising effort to help us with our tennis courts. The Pearl Street Placemaking Project, if you sat in any of the Economic Development Committee meetings, you heard me speak on those. That'll be submitted this week to see if we can get to work with a graduate student on their capstone project, focusing on the Pearl Street area. I've been really busy, so I don't know. Is there any questions about anything else that's been going on in the parks? Help you out, or rec.
Did you find out anything about the trail along the Embarrass?
I met with them. I have not heard back after they've decided they're working on the project right now. I'm trying to figure out a way to make it work.
For events, potential agenda items for the future meeting?
Yeah, so we're definitely gonna see a proclamation similar to the one that we did with the boat launch overflow for the urban forestry grant. The special events policy will need to be updated to include the ordinance on outdoor open container entertainment events. And it's budget season. So you'll be seeing all of those things come through. I know Bob and I talked about a potential of a parks tour too this fall. Sometime when we have time.
Anybody have anything else? We'd like to review our next meeting date. I promise I'll be here on time.
So you guys can talk about that after your Department of Public Works meeting. We would be potentially doing a back-to-back again with them because of Labor Day.
That's all. I look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made and second to adjourn. All in favor?